Samuel Taylor Coleridge was an English poet, literary critic, philosopher, and one of the founders of the Romantic movement in England. Alongside William Wordsworth, Coleridge contributed to the groundbreaking collection Lyrical Ballads, which is often credited with starting the Romantic era in English literature. His most famous works include The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Christabel, and Kubla Khan. Coleridge is known for his use of vivid imagery, supernatural themes, and exploration of the imagination. He was a central figure in the Romantic movement, which emphasized emotion, nature, and individualism. Coleridge's personal life was marked by struggles with health, addicted to opium, and unfulfilled ambitions, which often influenced his work. Kubla Khan is one of Coleridge's most famous and enigmatic poems. Written in 1797 and published in 1816, the poem is subtitled A Vision in a Dream, a Fragment, reflecting its mysterious and incomplete nature. Coleridge claimed that the poem came to him in an opium induced dream and he began writing it down upon waking. However, he was interrupted and the poem was never completed as initially envisioned. Before going into the detailed summary of the poem, let's see its two distinct parts. First is the vision of Xanadu. The first part of the poem describes the construction of a magnificent palace by Kubla Khan, the Mongol emperor in the land of Xanadu. This palace is set in a beautiful, almost surreal landscape filled with gardens, rivers, and forest. Coleridge creates an image of a paradise-like setting where art and nature blend harmoniously. And the second part is the Abyssinian maid and the poet's desire. The second part of the poem shifts from the description of Xanadu to a more personal reflection. The speaker recalls a vision of an Abyssinian maid playing a dulcimer and singing of Mount Abora. The speaker expresses a longing to recreate the music and the vision, which would grant him the power to build a magnificent dome in the air, like the one Kubla Khan built in Xanadu. Okay, now we are going to the detailed explanation. Stanza 1. That is from line 1 to 11. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alph, the sacred river, ran through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground, with walls and towers were girdled round, and there were gardens bright with sinuous rills, there blossomed many an incense-bearing tree. And here were forests ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. The poem begins with the declaration that Kubla Khan ordered a stately pleasure dome to be built in Xanadu. Coleridge immediately transports the reader to a world of imagination and exoticism. Xanadu is portrayed as a place where the natural world is in harmony with human creation. The Alph, the sacred river, runs through caves and reaches the caverns measureless to man, which suggests a mystical and infinite landscape. The imagery here is both grand and otherworldly, setting the tone for the rest of the poem. But oh, that deep romantic chasm which slanted down the green hill athwart a sedan cover, a savage place as holy and enchanted as ever beneath a waning moon was haunted by a woman wailing for her demon lover. And from this chasm with ceaseless turmoil seething, and if this earth in fast thick pans bear breathing, a mighty fountain momently was forced, amid whose swift half intermitted burst Huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail, or chaffy grain beneath the thresher's flail. And mid these dancing rocks at once and ever, it flung up momently the sacred river. 5 miles meandering with a mazy motion, through wood and dale the sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless to man, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult Kubla heard from far ancestral voices prophesying war. Stanza 2, lines 12 to 30. Coleridge then describes the contrasting elements of the landscape. While the first stanza paints a picture of a serene paradise, this section introduces the idea of nature's wildness and unpredictability. The mighty fountain bursts from the earth with tumultuous energy, creating a sense of chaos. The river flows through the landscape, creating a savage place that is holy and enchanted. This juxtaposition of order and chaos, beauty and danger, is central to the romantic fascination with the sublime. Stanza 3, lines 31 to 36. In this stanza, Kubla Khan hears ancestral voices prophesying war. The peaceful image of the pleasure dome is disturbed by the looming threat of conflict. This suggests that even in paradise there is an underlying tension, and human achievements are fragile and transient. The shadow of the dome of pleasure floated midway on the waves. Bare was heard the mingled measure from the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, a sunny pleasure dome with caves of ice. The poem now shifts back to the pleasure dome, described as floating on the waves of the river. The imagery here is more serene and peaceful, contrasting with the chaos of the earlier lines. The pleasure dome is a miraculous creation, blending opposites, the warmth of the sun with the coldness of ice. So this juxtaposition highlights the supernatural and dreamlike nature of the setting. A damsel with a dulcimer in a vision once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her dulcimer she played, singing of Mount Abora. Could I revive within me her symphony and song, to such a deep delight 'twould win me, that with music loud and long I would build that dome in air, that sunny dome, those caves of ice. And all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, beware, beware. His flashing eyes, his floating hair, weave a circle round him thrice. And close your eyes with holy dread, for he on honeydew hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise. Stanza 4, lines 37 to 54. The poem then shifts focus from the physical landscape to the poet's inner vision. The speaker recalls seeing an Abyssinian maid who played her dulcimer and sang of Mount Abora. This vision represents a moment of pure artistic inspiration. The speaker longs to recapture that inspiration and through it create something as grand as a pleasure dome of Xanadu. This stanza reflects Coleridge's own struggles with creativity and the elusive nature of artistic genius. And coming to the final lines, 55 to 57, the poem concludes with the speaker imagining himself as a godlike figure capable of building the dome in the air. However, this vision is tinged with awe and fear as the speaker acknowledges that such creative power would make others beware of him. The final image of the speaker with flashing eyes and floating hair suggests both the brilliance and the danger of unchecked imagination. So to conclude, Kubla Khan is a rich and evocative poem that showcases Coleridge's unique ability to blend the real and the imaginary. Its vivid imagery and exploration of the creative process make it one of the defining works of romantic literature. Although the poem remains unfinished, its fragmentary nature adds to its mystique and allows readers to ponder the elusive nature of inspiration and the power of the human imagination. Thank you.